Grand Rising, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome in. You are in the hour of power. Wisdom Wednesdays. Here, coming out live from the White Rose Community Television Program station. Going out over Facebook and then later on YouTube. Like always, we're going to ask everybody to do their due diligence. Make sure you get a pad and paper, get something to write something down. I promise you it's going to be an invigorating, educational experience. Yeah, got a little mic check. Anybody that is not coming across clearly, please send a little message there. I'm about to send it to my super friends. Ooh, got some news. I see that news you got on there. Send this out to Peace Elohim. Send this out to No Caller ID. Appreciate what you're doing out there. Got some really good events coming up. I'm going to make mere mention of it later on. The Cassidy Central PA Indy Artist Showcase. I'm going to be making mention to that very, very shortly. Send this out to Miss Jolie. Boom, where's she at? So like I said, sending things out. Make sure you keep it locked every single Wednesday. Myself, Ptah, Shakur, got Shareef, Hameed. But before we get into everything, first, warning. I go back and listen to my video. I'm like, man, I'm kind of loud. I need to slow down a little bit. Warning. Rubbing my hands together. We're about to go in. The information you hear may excite you. It may depress you. It may trigger you. It may cause a myriad of emotions, but I promise you the information that is always coming forth when I'm in this particular program, when we're in this particular program, is coming across to give education, inspiration for all those who seek it in the form of the knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Because believe it or not, we are living in a time where true information is hard to come by. We are born in sin and baptized in iniquity, and this is the coming age, a wonderful age as far as the correction of all those ills. We're living in those revelation times right now where it speaks about, behold, I see the new heaven and the new earth. Those are the times in. But we're going to get into all that in a little bit. But welcome in. This is the Hour of Power program. I'm going to start with my particular intro. Tells you all you need to know about me. And I'm going to tell you about my channels. And I'm going to pass it over to Shareef and we're going to get in. Ptah, Shakur, I pledge to look for the best in each and every person and each and every opportunity, especially starting with myself. I come from love, I am love, and I choose to look at the world through the lens of love. I commit myself to choosing the upper room towards vibrating at the highest level possible. I am the omnipotent. Also, this is a warning. This may come across as an egotistical boasting manner, but in the reality, I got to give people reasons why to give this a little bit of an ear as far as information that's coming across. We're living in some truly, truly exciting and dire times. So listen very closely. I am the omnipresent, all-powerful intelligence governing this here mind-body complex. I am the presence of divine harmony. I'm always connected to the frequency of God, in the heart of God. And I now bring forth solutions to change myself and to change the world. See how that works? Change yourself, change the world. I am a limitless, open door with no man can shut. I am the mighty divine source in action. In short, I'm your brother. In shorter, I'm you. I'm a catalyst for change, a role model, youth advocate, Reiki practitioner, transformative life coach, entrepreneur, and spirit guide and channel. I implore everybody, remember this. I am a rebel. I'm here to uninstall cowardice. I, Ptah Shakur, seek to shed light on the daily atrocities that are orchestrated by the elites who seek control over you and I, and their end game is closer than you think. All my fast trackers, you already know what I'm saying. I salute you. Keep shining your light. Keep shining it bright so we can flip all these cards over. If you're in the middle of the track, you're unsure what's going on, you're whiffy-waffy, I implore you to do all your research. Question everything that you've ever been taught. And particularly in this day and time, use this noodle right here. Every tub shall sits on its own bottom. And if you're on a low, you on a slow field, you're sitting on the bench over there, you may consider some of this information is just, Ptah Shakur, he don't know what he's talking about. Keep doubting. There's a special place for everybody. That's how the universe gives everybody what they need. So, like I said, those elitists, they're afraid of me. The ones that's been secretly running this industrial military complex since the 1950s. Go ahead and Google forget what the president's name is. I think it's Nixon. his last particular address, he speaks about that. I intend to promote nothing but love, light, motivation, education for all those that are seeking to understand the current changes that's going on in this world. I ask all my YouTube subscribers, my 106 YouTube subscribers, remember this. You are eternal beings with forever being a fraction of eternity. And I'm asking all of you, my beautiful, powerful children of the ultimate divine grid programmer, to stand up and find that love for self and then pass it off to the individuals around you in your physical confinement, so to speak, your reflections of yourself in physical flesh that you call your fellow human being. For all my hooded youth, we love you. We understand that the generations before you actually let you down, but the buck stops here. We understand that the youth are some of the most powerful souls that have ever incarnated as returned at this key junction in time to help bring in this new world, this new heaven, and this new earth that's spoke about it in scripture. To all my star seeds, wanderers, indigo children, angelic souls, remember these words. Pause for dramatics. Learn the things about speaking. We are the new founding fathers of this creation. And like I said, I'm asking everybody to cast a portion of love. Find that love for yourself. Cast a portion to the individuals around you. I would never hurt myself. I would never kill myself. I'm a happily married man, family man, individual that want to be remembered in the community as a pillar, such as like the individuals from civil rights have did their due diligence for us to be standing upon their shoulders. That's my will. So happy everybody's be able to tune in, tap in, turn on to the most powerful hour power. That's my words. How you doing, bro? How's your days going?
What's going on, bro?
You want to say something to them a little quick?
All right. This is a special show. Not that any of the other ones aren't, but we definitely want to send a tribute to two great men who we lost in the last week. Mr. Teddy Miller, as you can see there, with Ptah Shakur, and Coach Preston, who was right here on this set about 2 years ago. He blessed this set, and that was a great interview. I got to find that interview and replay it. But as always, we'll get into this show, a lot of different topics, open lines, 717-846-5067, and especially if anyone has some kind words or experiences with Coach Preston and Mr. Teddy Miller, you're welcome to call in 717-846-5067. Please do, because it's plenty positive things and memories of both men. But as always, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I live to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Netter, oracles, scriptures, and writings that came on the continent of Africa thousands of years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Muslim family, Assalamu alaikum and Eid Mubarak. To my Hebrew Israelite family, Shalom. To my Black conscious family, Hotep. To my Native American family, Halito. And to the whole human family, peace and blessings. What's good to you? This is the hour of power with Brother Shareef and Ptah Shakur. So, my good brother, what do you want to jump into first? I guess it's only fitting to give tribute to our two brothers who have left us in body but not in soul.
Absolutely, I think that would be great. And also, before I preface that to say, in relation to the time that we're living in a real key junction. So the way that we view the certain things around us, particularly dealing with life or death, I've said on multiple occasions, like the earth is actually waking up. We're living in a tremendous switchover period, and even in that respect, as far as how the earth is waking up, you're going to see more earthquakes and more different weather phenomena. I think over in the United Arab Emirates, it's like a storm. I get a year's worth of storm and rain. So we're experiencing weird type of things that may cause us to feel kind of trepidatious, or real kind of questioning like the condition in our world when you have loved ones like the individuals that's behind us. But I would just implore everybody to listen to this. As we move into this new frequency and energy, all those that is our loved ones, we'll see them again. I'm bringing this as far as dealing from a standpoint of bringing some ancient knowledge as well as some metaphysical tapped in type of knowledge as well. So I always try to kind of look at that first and foremost when I hear troubling news, like I heard the troubling news, particularly starting with Mr. Miller. I was going to rock that hat today. When you have these strong presence of people like Mr. Miller, KP, that take an interest in young black men, and you know, and they all had like their own different ways, but particularly selling from Mr. Miller, he was a very learned man. A man who, like I was just mentioning not too long ago, he did his own research. He was a very scholarly man. You know, I mean, he knew he was very, very interested in ancient Egypt and getting to know the culture of black people. So if you, first of all, if you black online, if you understand these individuals made an impact in your life, please give a call in 717-846-5067. But like I was saying for Mr. Miller, having a person that where you can look almost like a role model, you know, particularly when you're older in your days. Get older gentlemen, if you up in your 60s or 70s, get around these youth. I met him at the Crispus Attics. He was always hanging around in there playing dominoes and different games like that, and just being around those old souls and just hearing the stories. I promise you, young individuals, I can really put a lot of the success and things I experienced, attribute that to being around old people that care. Because listen, and nobody is a judge, and ain't nobody no saint out here, you know, because some of the older individuals, you experiencing them when they're starting to turn their life around. So who else best to learn about the rigors of life than a person who went through stuff and they came out of it and they just got the fruit. They're not giving you the bark of the tree at that point. They just got their hands full of fruit to give out. So shout out to individuals like I said, Mr. Miller, who makes a concerted effort to pull a young man to the side and just, you know, on the real, like you see you doing something crazy, like, oh, what you you know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's kind of a heavy-hearted type of day, but like I said, keeping all that in perspective, this is a beautiful day to see people move on and not have to deal with certain ailments and things. Because I can't even imagine being at that point and dealing with the ailments and things going on, and I don't know, man.
Yeah. Both very influential brothers in our community in different ways. I would see Mr. Miller at the market or, you know, different places, and we always had, you know, a very in-depth and educational, spiritual conversation. I knew two of his children, Chaz and then his one daughter. I don't want to be disrespectful. I forget her name, but she passed away years ago, a beautiful young lady. But I would always see him, and we always had a very enlightening conversation and experience. And of course, with Mr. Preston, Coach Preston, as he's affectionately known, a lot of people talk about how he, you know, was a coach in basketball, and he touched many lives with that. But one thing I think people don't mention a lot, he's one of the first African American or black male teachers at York High. And he touched a lot of people. That alone, without him saying anything, just his presence, you know, because most people know him by being, you know, a basketball coach.
For sure. I'll let you handle it.
Our power.
How's it going? Name's Warren Garrett. Been listening for a while. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Just wanted to call in. I heard you guys talking about working with youth and everything like that. And I was hoping to give a little different perspective on that.
Who's calling again?
Warren Garrett.
Yeah, my name's Warren Garrett.
Oh yeah. How you doing, brother?
Good. Yeah. And I don't know if you had time or not, but
What's up? What you got in mind?
yeah. So I noticed that, and I could be totally wrong here, but I noticed that you brothers are followers of Allah. And I could be wrong about that, but I was just kind of assuming that.
Well, Brother Ptah can explain what his background is. We're brothers. I'm Muslim, but
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, we all acknowledge the existence of Allah, and that's why I want to call like this. Because the reason I'm saying that is because when we're talking about working with the youth, I think what a lot of times we leave out of that equation is a law of sovereignty, and how we get placed on certain paths that at first they may not look like, it may not look ideal. Like, for example, I went to prison, but coming out of that lifestyle, now I'm able to work with people that maybe are in danger of going down that path. But I also recognize, though, that even for those that do go down that path, it could have been in some ways destined for them to go down that path. Even though, it may not have been ideal, but we can't always see the whole picture of things. And a lot of times we'll be trying so hard to get someone to go a certain way, but unfortunately they're going to be going down a certain path either way. Another aspect to that is when you look at statistics.
Okay.
And they can show how, you can take a person's life, basically, and add up the circumstances and situations and the factors that make up who they are. And you can basically build an equation and say, well, this is probably what's going to happen with that person.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of times, what we're doing is fighting against that, and trying to get people to go a certain way or go down a certain path. And I just wanted to add that in there. I'm not, I just wanted to throw that in. I kind of caught.
Well, I just want to jump into that last part that you mentioned. I had a little bit difficulty understanding what you said about Allah's sovereignty, but I'm going to get to that in a moment. But you said the idea about in this world as far as the usage of these particular statistics to say, okay, you're from this single parent home or you're from this particular environment. What was the predictive outcome that's expected? You speaking on that type of idea, I imagine?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. Like, take for an example, you have a young guy, and he is, he's a good guy. He's a good kid, but he's going down a bad path, right?
Yes, sir.
The path that he's on could be leading him towards, let's say, someone being in the working class.
Yes, sir.
Of course, everybody wants to be a star football running back, right? And we try to push our youth towards greatness in that way. But I think what gets missed out on is the fact that we still need people to be a part of the working class.
I got you. Yes, sir.
And I think we sometimes will, and not, I think it's more of a work of the media and portrayals of things, but we'll sometimes, like, for example, make someone feel bad that they're being a part of the working class.
I got you.
Say, hey, unfortunately for you, son, you're not going to be this, and that.
Well, let's
still focus on the strengths that you have and, where you're more likely to fit in at and excel at.
Right. All right. Yeah, everything you're saying is on point, but out all due respect, we're trying to stay on track with the tribute to I don't know if you know him, Coach Preston, who is legendary at our in our city here, being a basketball coach, a father, grandfather, and Mr. Teddy Miller. So definitely hold those thoughts for another show.
And if you allow me, I'm just going to just finish this before we kind of move it on, because I now understand the reason why you're saying. Yeah, I did put a post out about you talking about this particular program. We was going to talk about youth sports. We was going to have an individual on it, but they kind of canceled. But to answer your question, as far as pushing our youth towards, like the workforce, we don't really understand it, that with the AI situation, it's not going to be too much of a workforce. But if you're asking me personally, what I believe is that if we need to teach the youth how to access themselves, how to actually access their higher self, to find the purpose that they came on this planet, that may not have nothing to do about employment, working, or none of that. So I'm very hands off. I believe we could teach not only youth but adults how to access and find your divine gifts of what you came here to do. None of us came here to be working. You know what I'm saying? So it's a larger scope of things. Yes, we may share certain things like youth sports or having these type of things, as being like a little temporary type of thing. But ultimately, if we could teach the youth the certain keys, before I leave out, I'll share the certain keys that we must teach the youth as far as how to manifest and actually cause and pull your reality to you. Not that you just follow the path of what we've been doing. Okay, well, I guess a majority of percentages is healthcare. I guess we're going too cerebrally when it comes to having youth pick out things. But we got to do this from the heart perspective. So we'll tap into that. But thank you for calling in and sharing that idea, though.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Appreciate
thank you for calling in.
You guys all take care.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
But yeah,
Yes,
like I said,
that's a good brother calling in. He has a lot of good perspectives. Just this week, we want to concentrate on our brothers who meant so much to this community. But as I was saying before the brother called in, one aspect of Coach Preston's life and impact is him being one of the first black male teachers at York High that I know of, and that really inspired me. I was in his English class because he was an English teacher, but just having that experience with him being a black male teacher, which I believe is what we're lacking in a lot of our inner city schools is black male teachers. That is an impact that Coach Preston had that a lot of people don't talk about.
Mm-hmm. And just real quick, thanks you for bringing that up. Because when I went into the York High, it was KP and it was another individual. I forget his name. I think he went on to be a principal. I can't remember his name.
Eric Holmes?
Mr. Holmes, yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're right. I think coming through elementary school and middle school, I didn't have any black male teacher. I might have had like one black female, but yeah, that's really, really powerful. And just knowing how the 100-man read that David Overton is now heading up, that we would go out to the schools and read to kids, to have them have that same type of image, present that the same that we had it. That was tremendous. I think me and KP, we got a little extra. There's a little extra story about Mr. KP. I used to belong to what's called the Most program. Shout out to my Most family out there. This is a program that I was in begrudgingly from 6th grade all the way till I graduated from high school. And what that meant was when the school was over for everybody else at 3 o'clock, I had most classes from 4 to 6 every day. On the Saturday, if I had 3 months off, I only had a month because I would go into the most thing. And so KP, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't getting paid for this neither. Now I'm thinking about it. He was always a chaperone. Every time we would go, he wasn't there on the day-to-day whatever, but when we would take trips, we would take trips to Gullah Gullah Island. They took us down to South Carolina. Take your parents, if you want to put your feet on some African soil in the confines of the hells of North America, down there in South Carolina. It's called the Gullah, South Carolina. We went down there as we was young, so spending all that time with him being a chaperone or somebody to always kind of keep us on par. Me and my boy George Jennings challenged him and Mr. McLeod to basketball. That's the memories that's going to exist. When loved ones pass and they go, they still exist. They just exist right here. So what's going to stay right here in his heart is we beat them on a game up to 5, you know, and then KP had a jumper, yo. Even in his older days, I'm telling you.
He had more than that. I mean, he went to Penn State on a scholarship. Yeah, for basketball, which was unheard of back in his time.
I was about maybe 15, so then he must have been in his like 50s, 60s, and he was still cutting us up. So, and I know he's remember he got some good family too. You know, his children. I know his daughter went whole ride with his daughter ever since kindergarten on up. You know, so he's always been around in that standpoint as well. I ran into him at the Spooky Nooks, and he was talking about the need of getting like youth basketball, like the brother that just called in, and like some youth, and this is like what makes them so popular, is a lot of the ways that we can learn leadership, learn sacrifice, learn compassion is through sports. You know what I'm saying? There's some other type of thing will introduce itself, some more kind of rites of passage. If we put that out for everybody who's listening right now, young black man, we need a rites of passage, something that's beyond just sports. You know, maybe take them out to the woods or whatever, do some Lord of the Flies type of activity. I'm build a fire, I'm walk around. Something for them to, you know, commemorate the next level and actually, you know, learning these key, because playing and clay is the same thing. Play and clay. You know, you might find, you know, kids just playing around with blocks. They're really building their perspective of the world. So it's real powerful stuff, man.
I wish some of you know, the players out there here in York could call in and give a testimony with for Coach Preston. I know our other co-host, PC Lohim, he used to play on the 95 district championship team, and a lot of people say that's one of the best teams that he ever produced. I think the best team he ever produced was the 92 team that was one game away from the state championship. But, you know, got the peaceful bragging rights with that. But if anyone wants to call in and give their testimony and positive experience with Coach Preston or Mr. Miller, 717-846-5067. 717-846-5067 if you have any testimony about our wonderful brother. May he rest in power. Absolutely. Coach Preston and Mr. Teddy Miller.
When KP was on the program, what was he talking about?
He talked about how he came into coaching basketball for York High. He talked about a lot of racial challenges he had, which was very powerful. He talked about, you know, our brothers being responsible and not just being athletes, but being into their grades and then things like that. And it was a very powerful interview. Like I said, I'm going to do the best I can. It can't be hard. It's in the archives there, and I'm going to get that interview and I'll post it again. A lot of jewels.
I mean, that's deep. That one aspect that you just was saying, and it's just imagine individuals like him stepping into these arenas, you know, out in Southwestern, do. You know what I mean? At that time, we had to be talking about, what was it, 7? He's not in no. I'm 70. He probably played around late 60s, early 70s. You know, so I seen the yearbooks, I seen the fro, and then the amount of confidence you gotta be to walk into those particular arrangements. Like there's anybody that was in the civil rights when you was kind of the tip of the spear, you had to really deal with. You could hear on the foul line. I'm sure you had to hear somebody say the N word while you trying to shoot a shot, and they deal with all that gracefully. You know, even I look at people like nowadays, and you know, in professional basketball, you know, like Russell Westbrook, he do the fans and say something crazy to him. You want to run it. Like, was it a melee? Run into the crowd and start fighting people. We got to have thick skin. So, shout out to him in that endeavor. He had to have tremendous thick skin, you know, to be able to represent on him on that type of level at that particular time.
Yes, please call in with any stories that you have with either of these brothers. And we're here, 717-846-5067.
And let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Miller, he used to grow up, not say he used to grow up, but he had a son that was a little bit younger than me, so he was kind of close to where I was living, which is not too close to where we at right now. And just getting to know him and just speaking about, we have plans to take some trips, bro. I never really been around somebody that was so enamored by the Egyptian culture. Like I would say things like, I'm Ptah Shakur, so like I'm a nerd to the 9th degree. So I do my due diligence and research on a whole lot of topics. And so when I was talking to him about Kemet, and just to hear that reflection from another older soul, like, yeah, man, that's the Egyptian, that's us. We was running, the cradle of civilization, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the God of the universe. To hear that, coming from an older individual, and he got receipts to sit there and just hear about, I would say something to him like, oh, what you know about the pyramid of Doja? Oh, that's the oldest pyramid. So just have an old individual that's tapped in like that, and like I said, have the wherewithal to come in and just talk to youth. I got so many stories. I gotta fish that hat out. I don't know if y'all see that hat in that picture. That's a smooth little Kango. When I cut my hair bald, I was holding on to it for a minute. Trying to get a little shape up, trying to do the little broad thing. But so you need to cover that thing up. So he bought me my very first Kango. I know it don't match with what I got on the that's a weird combination, but out of respect for him. Matter of fact, next show I'm coming on, I'm rocking that hat. That's just shout out for him. And understand this, because this is, how long was KP when he played? Like a day or two?
I think it was.
Today's Wednesday. It's like Monday.
I think it was like Monday or Sunday.
Now this is only just to provide solace and peace, because we talking about, not only talking about these two great men, we talking about deaths of loved ones, and we all going through it. Just understanding that immediately after individuals pass, they be around. Now I don't want to get too spooky, too crazy, like I said, but we living in a time where that veil is lifted. So if you believe the individual, and I heard plenty of stories. I ain't the only one. I ain't gotta say my story. I can tell other people's stories about, and when you in your sleep state or whatever, individuals are come and bring that peace to you. So everybody that's out there suffering right now, he had a big family. Preston's run deep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So. I know we all giving, I know Keisha Preston, like I said, that's the one that I grew up with. Our condolences going out. But best to believe, knowing KP, he's looking around, he's checking on everybody, making sure everybody keeps a jovial mentality. And the way that we used to suffer, deaths of loved ones or whatever, and the knowledge that I was born into, we would take a piece of candy. And I don't know how they do that in the Muslim tradition. The brother asked me about it. He said, you believe in Allah? Yeah, I mean, what are you talking about? But the tradition we used to do when somebody that was close to us passed, we all get together, share the information or whatever, and we would have a piece of candy. They would hand out a little wrap, prepare a piece of candy, and we would take the candy out, and we all would be in silence, and we would just think of the memory of that individual, and and kind of lock that in to the sweetness of that particular candy. So it's almost like a little mind tie-in type of thing. So even down around when you had that candy again, you start thinking about that person. So gave that one away for free. But yeah, go ahead and call in. I know we got plenty of people. I remember seeing KP on the court yelling at people. I see Marcus Shields and Kevin Watkins. I see them out. They might know who I am. I give salute to my OGs, like for real. Kid with Birdie. I never played for him. I wasn't as I don't got the jumper like I got right now. If I had it when I was younger, it'd be problems for people. But just to see a person on that stage yelling, I actually want to be a coach. You ever think about doing some collegiately sports or something on that level?
No. Just support the brothers, man, and all throughout the show, like you said, please call in and give your positive stories about our two brothers who have meant so much to the youth and the community. Anything else you want to touch on?
Oh, heck brother? Yeah. I mean, while I got this time, I wanted to kind of share about on the Ptah Shakur Speaks program on Monday. I've been putting together some real interesting curriculums, and in particular, as a matter of fact, let me go ahead and just flip the screen around. I think, and I'm gonna flip it back in a moment. They said pictures are worth 1,000 words. Last program, what we talking about? We talking about Easter. We was talking about how. Hold on, let me get back on the screen.
Yeah, anyone that wants to call in and share their stories about our two brothers, which we're paying tribute to, we accept those calls at any time.
For sure. We'll freestyle here just a little bit. So last time we was on the program, we was talking about Russia had unleashed old pictures in their Bible. Now, they're not even in their Bible. It was their pictures and things that they kind of hid away. Because like I said, they was all connected to the whole, empire there, to the
Black Jesus and black prophets,
Black
right?
Jesus, black gospel, multiple pictures of it. So this led to a whole nother little research right there. The oldest Bible. Is this thing on? The oldest Bible in existence exists in Ethiopia. Why Ethiopia, you might ask? Well, Ethiopia, which I just found out, was the only continent that wasn't colonized.
Yes.
I'm like, whoa. So they're able to keep their genealogical record all the way from the Ham and Hamites and all that. So what it found out is that in the regular, it has like 9 different books that's not included in the King James Version Bible, in those particular books. And of course, not to mention,
it's got to be more than that, man.
Yeah, I ain't even. And as you can see, some of the pictures in the book. Guess what the pictures look like? When you open the book of the, it looked like the one that is said in the words in the Bible. It said he looked as though he had skin of burnt bronze.
Mm-hmm.
So that's in it as well. So I put that up there to said all that to say, go ahead and check. Do your due diligence at all times. This is the Great Awakening. This is the time where knowledge and wisdom and understanding is popping out. And we got accessibility, whether you got your laptop, phone, you can talk to your remote. They say, oh, this Bible, and then it pops up. So ignorance of the truth at this particular time is no excuse at all to realize that the things that we've been taught as far as our Savior being blonde hair and blue eyes, yeah, that is a fallacy. And also, like I said, this is the teaser. This is on Monday, next Monday, 8 p.m. on this very channel here. I'm going to be going into the missing years of Jesus of Nazareth. Ask yourself a question. We pose questions to the individuals about Easter, like what did the bunny mean, and what did the egg mean, and what was that whole thing about the 3 dying on the 3rd day and then coming up? It wasn't even 2.5, was it? What we working out like a day and a half?
About a day and a half.
Day and a half. These are questions, and what condition are we are? I'm gonna speak to America, like Bernie Mac. Listen up, America. What condition are we in where we no longer want to ask questions?
I got a question. Why do you think, and I'm asking you and the audience out there, why aren't the preachers exposing to their congregation about these findings? We already had the findings of the Vatican where he's praying to the Pope was praying to the Black Madonna, but now Russia, like you said, with our show, all these black prophets and black faces. What do they think they're going to lose by talking about this, and why ain't they talking about it? Why do you think they're not talking about these findings? They have to see it. It's all over the internet.
Why I think it's not being expressed, and I'm not in the churches. I don't know if they really talk about it. I
doubt it, but
I highly doubt it. I don't hear nobody coming. I hear people come up to me. I don't hear too many Christian individuals come up. But why I think it is they're trying not to rock the boat. Like I said, this energy, this Christ consciousness that we're moving into, that the Mayans spoke about in 2012 when they alluded to what was going to be coming in the scriptures, talking about, behold, a new heaven and a new earth. Those are the time, the mark of the beast. Revelations is jumping off of the pages right now. So if they're not speaking about this, now I hear people talking about like the rapture and things of that nature. But we need to speak about, like you said, the truth of the matter. And so I personally think that as we begin to evolve and wake up, we're going to leave those certain things behind. When I say those things, the financial system in America is crumbling. It's time to leave it to die. The educational system in America is crumbling. It's time to leave it to die. And as far as the religious indoctrination from the very, very onset, we're taught about this thing, a place called hell. There's 7 times the heat of the sun, but you can't feel it. Well, it's the sun. I can't feel it. You know what I mean? So you understand this is that key indoctrination part. As long as you can keep that fear-based indoctrination in them, you can just sit back and just act like it's business without you. Business is normal. Oh yeah, so what is a black Jesus and black? Yeah, we're just gonna keep this Cadillac moving forward until the wheels fall off. Oh, those wheels are falling off. And so, like I said, the parishioners, you're finding out. Like there's an article that had on the they're having difficulty finding new parishioners for church now. More people are now drifting away, which is all part of the time that we living in. Everybody's going to eventually go their own way. So the keepers that's been keeping us captive, the ones who was sharing the books and we wasn't even allowed to read it, but they was sitting there teaching from it, couldn't even read it, had the book upside down, had the individual in the back making sure that if you're not going to treat a person right, you're not going to teach them right. So we just experiencing the same symptom of that. So to me,
I think it's about doors of truth. I've said it before. Once you open up one door of truth, so if they start talking about the black prophets and Jesus being black and on and on and on, once you open up one door of truth, then you got to open up another door of truth. So the best thing to do is to close all the doors of truth. Just act like it don't exist. But these people in these churches, they are on their phones, they're on the internet. They have to see these these reports about.
These are like allegations. It's like here, like with Diddy, these allegations. But his whole thing was like, Mr. Combs has not did any of this. Like, come on, man. So you gotta, like the lawyers, you gotta say that. Man, we see the writing on the wall. Like you said, it's the doors. Because once that door open up, it's a thread, and once that thread is being exposed, all truth is coming out right now. So
and it only takes one truth. That's how powerful the truth is. That's how I came into my awakening. Like I said, I was in a rubber room at the York High. They used to have that back in the day for students that got in trouble. I didn't have no work to do. I was just sitting there, and a young man in front of me had a book, and he was getting ready to be discharged from what we call the rubber room, which they don't have no more. I said, what book is that? He said, oh, it's about some Muslim guy. Here, you can have it. You can take it back. I looked in there, start talking about the pyramids and all that. So that truth led me into, I went to the library after that. We didn't have the internet then. And then I started studying this and studying that. And it was like a floodgate. So I'm very disappointed if I'm right. But I bet my bottom dollar that these preachers are not exposing these findings to their congregation about Jesus being black. They should have already known that anyway. But now Russia is coming out with it. So,
well, I say for all
do your own studying, man.
Not only for everybody who's listening, but it also preachers and pastors. Listen up to this part. Like I said, my program is coming up next Monday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m., which I'll be going into the missing years of the entity named Yeshua. Because did you know
That's his real name?
One thing's for sure is there's no, at that particular time, there was no J in the Hebrew Bible. So it wasn't no J. It couldn't have been. And if you even put Jesus into Latin, that stands for I am. But this individual entity named Yeshua. The question I want to pose to you, I'm going to go ahead and answer this to kind of get the party started. What happened from the time that these three magi came to Jesus in his what's it called?
Youth.
Yeah, came to him in the stable. Forget what it's called. Anyways, came to him. What happened from that moment in time to when 33 years later, 32 and years later, he actually comes back. Jesus, Yeshua, comes back. What happened to those span of time.
Missing years.
Those missing years. That is the exact title of my next program on Monday on this very channel at 8 p.m. And I'm going to give you a little teaser. Go ahead and get the party started. Those three magi, they each represented a particular destination. One of the magi represent Egypt. When Jesus was at the nest, this is coming across, Billy Carson has a compendium of information. I'm actually breaking some of them receipts down. I'm going to have plenty of receipts for you, plenty of things to look up in different type of books. I'm coming real heavy with some historical references. However, I'm just going to give you a little teaser here. From this 12th year, when he was 12 years old, Yeshua began his spiritual curiosity when he was ignited, when he learned about the mysteries in Egypt, the pyramids. And drawn by that, he traveled. Yes, Jesus traveled. Yeshua traveled to Egypt. And when he was in there, he actually learned vibrational healing as well as interstellar communication. Because believe it or not, that pyramid ain't a pyramid. It's really a dodecahedron. And it's basically like a stone computer. So when he actually, and people have had these episodes when you would walk into the Great Pyramid, they would have out-of-body experience and things of that nature. That same thing happened to Jesus when he went into this particular center of the Great Pyramid when he was 12 years old. I need y'all to hear me very, very carefully. And so with that, he got in contact with some other type of information, which we're going to go into on the show. So he learned vibrational healing, interstellar communication. The second magi, that was a magi that was from Tibet. After Jesus left Egypt, he went to Tibet. And when he went to Tibet, he learned what was then, which now referred to as Reiki or Qigong. He learned how to use the life force of prana and actually use that. He learned his healing techniques from traveling to Tibet. And then the very last place that he visited before he came was India. And while he was in India, he actually learned ideas of reincarnation, other teachings, which was necessary for him to gather his particular his energy to do what he had to do. Now, remind you, this individual that we talk about, the name Jesus, he was from a more spiritually adept family. He wasn't the outlier. His mother, his cousins, his brother, they was on a more of a spiritual tip than other individuals that was in Nazareth at that particular time. So he was basically engineered to pursue these mysteries and unlock the abilities that are latent inside of you and I. That's why he was saying that I'm the doorway, meaning that he had been that perfect example from the age of 12 up until 32. At age 32, he's already mastered Christ consciousness. He had the mentality. He knew how to do the healing, but he gathered those bits of information up, not from no divine sense. He just sat there. He would just naturally just imbued with his energy. Actually went into these physical locations, learned from physical teachers, and applied it on his coming back when he came back to visit what I reported his mother was in an ailing condition. So just that energy just lifted up that in the whole entire region and actually allowed for you and I to be sitting here right now on an energetical purpose. So he has a vast more, and I know people say, Jesus isn't real. Jesus doesn't exist. And I know it's a lot of different confusion in that, like, was his name really Jesus? We said his name Jesus, but we know his name wasn't Jesus. But if everybody listening at home, you understand what I'm saying, is that the individual that we refer to as being the Son of Christ, that consciousness, there's more stories to be told, and that's not something you're going to hear when you sit down in the pulpit there on Sunday. So please call in for that. Matter of fact, I'll put the phone number in if you want to call in for that. I'd be love to expound on that and give you some more information. But that's a little teaser going in to this Monday particular program. And so we got 10 more minutes in this mug. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little promo thing about this, about the youth sports. I promise to God. Dang, did I put that on there? Got one more screen.
And you don't gotta agree with anything that we say. If you have a different perspective or more knowledge about what we're talking about, because we're kind of freestyling, call in, 717-846-5067. And I think it's awful strange that two of the most known holy books don't even mention the pyramids The pyramids go back 10,000 years.
It's all that.
How could the prophets, whoever you follow, if you're a Jew, you follow Moses. If you're a Muslim, you follow, well, you're supposed to believe in all the prophets if you're a Muslim. But if you're a Christian, you follow Christ. They had to seen these wonders of the world, these pyramids, because the pyramids were here before any of them. Moses goes back 5,000 years. Abraham goes back 5,000 years. Moses goes back 3,000 years. But Jesus goes back 2,000 years. The pyramids were already here.
Yes.
They had to see them. They had to. But yet, when you look in the Bible, you don't see nothing about the pyramids. Just a question.
I mean, and just like the last screen that I had up, it had about the Ethiopian Bible. Now, look where Ethiopia is. That is south of Egypt. So if they had Christianity, they had Jesus. Now, there's a difference between Christianity and following Jesus. First of all, let me make that really clear.
That's a deep conversation within itself.
It's the difference between followers of Christ and Christian. So those who were the followers of Christ, they had a huge following in Ethiopia, which is south of Kemet. So that way of going from Israel to Ethiopia, matter of fact, and this has been proven, the Queen of Sheba has actually had a proven that she actually went from Ethiopia to Jerusalem and actually fathered a child to one of the key individuals that's there, and I forget what his name was. And he became the first ruler. The first ruler of Ethiopia is the son that Queen of Sheba had with the individual from Jerusalem. So just like that movie, Book of Clarence, that was a highway of Africa and Jerusalem, and right in the middle of that is Egypt. Trying to say, you know what I'm saying?
The birthplace of Jesus.
And even the Plato and Aristotle and Socrates, where did they go? They were down there. They was hanging out in Alexandria. They had their little book. They had their library card down in there. So
what's the one scholar's name? Dr. John Henry Clark. He actually said Jesus was born in a cave in Ethiopia. He said that in his writings. I had to try to find out to get more information, but he said Jesus was literally born in a cave in Ethiopia. So a lot of history there.
I mean, like I said, we gotta really open our minds and question some of the things that we were taught in the form of religion. Like I said, we were taught this when we was in chattel slavery, and so. And even parts of any type of religion that tells you that you gotta love your enemy, or love your there's even parts in there about obeying your slave master that's embedded inside of there. So it makes you really scratch your head at all that. Understand that black individuals, if you were alive right now and you could hear the sound of my voice, there was something, a line of thought or energy that we corresponded to before we even came to these particular shores. What was that? That's been erased. And then you asked a question about, as far as references to one of the 7 wonders of the world, why it is in the most widely read book in the world. It's been all erased. It's been whitewashed. It's been provenly whitewashed because, like we said about the pictures from Russia, they have them original. So if that's the original,
that's just what they showed us.
Yeah. If that's the original, then why are the originals not adding? Why they're not compatible? There's been a constant stream of erasing or unmelanating key individuals in our history. So now we're at the point where we believe subconsciously, if you're a black individual, that you don't retain any type of greatness inside of you, because every greatness that you see outside of you is demelanated, so to speak. But I want to mention this real quick, and then let me say this real quick before I go into that. And this kind of relates. Have you seen the show on Netflix? Check this out on Netflix called it's the ones where they was in prison. There's a prison documentary where they're allowing the inmates to run the society, and they'll just step out. They are realizing that the prison, prison reform is needed. They're just trying something different. I gotta get the name of that.
I know. It was a study done in a prison to see if regular citizens can survive in there. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but it was a study done.
It's called Unlocked, a jail experiment. This is on YouTube, and I make this relate to what I'm talking about. I mean, it's on Netflix. They took in a particular prison ward and made it completely, hey, lock everybody out and just have them work at their own little community and all that. And so the very first things was allowed to exist, but if you allowed it to go with 2 or 3 weeks, you'll find that there's certain dichotomy of who runs things in prison and who doesn't. And just a little hint, little teaser. While they kind of stepped away, I didn't see the whole thing yet. Individuals, as Caucasian prison inmates, they learned how to start making alcohol. Well, they already knew how to make alcohol. So they was been making alcohol, and then somebody else was making some type of weed or drugs or whatever. Then it started to go that way. So the question is, I was looking around, the dichotomy in prison, the only ones that had skills, the only ones that was producing anything, you know what I mean, was the ones that was of the lighter complexion. You know what I'm saying? So just think about that. These small black and brown kids that's now in prison, they have no skills. And being a gamer is not a skill. So parents, do what you can. The brother called in as far as pushing our youth to somewhere. We need to push our youth into some, in a way of saying push. Push our youth into more plumbing and skills. We need some type of skills. So anyways, that was kind of wild to me. But I want to make mention of this before we kind of flip off for the white rolls.
Yeah,
we can go a little bit longer for the.
We'll be shutting down on Channel 16 Local Access TV in about 4 minutes here. Thank you for tuning in, and you're still welcome to call in if you like. But
yeah, they're on the second annual. Let me move over the second Central PA Indy Artist Showcase with Cassidy and Shade 45s, Gray Rizzy, and the industrial manager Hennessy, Kev, and more. Ladies are free all night, $15 before 10 p.m. This is something that Smash is putting on. You know, I'll be there doing my little podcast thing, trying to spread love and light. So like I said, this is one of the forums that this Hour of Power is about. It's a community forum. You got some great stuff that's going on, something that helps bring finances and jobs and education and bring a positive exposure to your, we all afford that. So I just want to kind of make mention to that. That's coming up on, dang, what's the date for that? I ain't got the date on this thing? Does it say on the thing? Oh, the 27th. It's coming up in 10 days. So April 27th, there at the, it's the ballroom.
Yeah, it's downtown.
In the building, Sirius XM. Yeah, the downtown. Yeah, music by DJ Sean, DJ Ned. So this shout out, I see, and since we've been on this program, you know, I had so much wonderful interactions with people. I see people, you know, following your heart, follow your passions. And shout out to the Jasmine Taylor, I believe her name. She had the 717 cipher, so that's something she started, and we're gonna try to put some energy there behind that, because we got some talented individuals out there, and so this would be an opportunity, whether you write rhymes and lyrics. I used to write rhymes and lyrics. I had a friend of mine who made beats. I actually just gonna put an album out. Then it made from rap lyrics. My lyrics would sound like everybody else. It would sound like shoot 'em up. But it eventually allowed me to do a little diatribe and me to really go into some educational part. So you may start off being a rapper, and you might end up being a philosopher and a teacher. So let's do what we can to push our youth into some form of motion. Because like I said, motion begets motion. Get them up and get doing anything. You know, then you'll at least find out through failure what it is that you are supposed to do. Remember, failure is just nothing but a portion of success. But if you're listening on a White Rose Community Television, please keep it locked in here. Next Wednesday, we're having Miss Jolie. She's going to be on to talk about the different events coming up in September. There's like a Latin Fest and different individuals that's under her tutelage with skills and talent. So she wants to kind of highlight that. She's going to be got a queen in the building. She's going to come in and kind of bless us with some of her energy and some of her expertise. And so until that, everybody else on the White Rose, find that heaven on earth. When you find that heaven on earth, I promise you'll get in contact with the God divine within. When you do find that God divine within, do whatever you can to create little pockets on heaven and on earth. We can do this. Ain't nobody coming for us. It's all up to us.